Hey, welcome to the open mic, everyone. You got Aaron. We do this call because MSPs asked. They wanted to see what was new with the platform, what we've been up to, what bugs we fixed, and you folks wanted to do a little R&D or rob and duplicate of automation ideas from your peers. Who am I gonna pick? No, I'm gonna pick on Jesse because Jesse is he's like the wrestler of Roost. Jesse, how many MSPs have been successful with automation that have never asked a question?
Let me think about that. 0.
Exactly. In my experience, if an MSP comes into automation thinking that they are the world's expert at it, odds are they will fail. But if you come in with this going, what the heck do I need to do to automate things and ask a ton of questions, you'll typically succeed. And luckily, we give you lots of places to ask questions. You can do it in our Discord channel, the Coop, in front of everybody, or you could do it in your private channel in front of our rock or support teams, or you could do it on this call, which is awesome. With that, I'm sure there's normal things I typically talk about today, but I haven't been on this call for what feels like a month, and I wanted to talk a little bit about where I've been. And let me share my slideshow if I can get my screen to work right here. Can you guys see me and my kids?
We can.
I think the story has a happy ending. And I do this not for me, but for you, so you folks can learn what I've learned. My son's 15. He was born with something called hypoplastic left heart syndrome. He's had 5 open heart surgeries. And as part of all of these open heart surgeries, being on a ventilator for so long and so many times has scarred up his airway so he could no longer breathe. And so I would say 3 weeks ago, we headed to Cincinnati for something called airway reconstruction surgery. He was in the ICU on a ventilator for several weeks. We're still in Cincinnati. He can breathe a ton better than he could before. This is a picture of us yesterday. So can you imagine, this kid recently was in the ICU on a ventilator, probably being tortured more than he'd ever been tortured in his life. And he's happy to be out and breathing again. The moral of the story for you folks, I think I say this like once a year on this call, is don't trust your doctor when it's something serious. If it's a heart thing, if it's an airway thing like breathing, and you have a local doctor that your kid is seeing, don't trust the doctor. Say thank you for the information. Google where the best place in the world is to take care of the issue, and then get on a plane and go there. The outcomes are dramatically different. For example, in Cincinnati, they have an actual critical airway ICU. There's like no other hospital in the US with a critical airway ICU. And so because of that, you get a level of care for that specific problem that you could not receive elsewhere. Also, if you have a kid that has a major health challenge and you need someone to talk to about it, please DM me. I have learned so much medical knowledge around airways, lungs, and hearts that I love helping other parents that are going through similar situations. You folks may have met Isaac, my son, if you went to Flow. He was working at Flow earlier this year. And I'm going to pause now because I've been pacing outside in Cincinnati. Was there any commentary? Yes. Don't accept answers from tier 1 support. Please DM me if you're in a similar situation as me. Thank you, everybody. Ash, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Aaron. That is amazing to hear. I am happy. I loved meeting him too when we were at Flow. He was such a good little order. Now let us jump into the show. Let me see who's up first. We've got George.
It's me.
Phew.
Hello. Yeah, quick thing from me. We in Discord have a brand new channel in our Birds of a Feather. Some of you have already been in there, kicking up some fun, but we now have a dedicated Sept channel under Birds of a Feather. So for all you folks who are using Roost and Sept together, you can now go into Discord and chat, converse, tag Kelvin with all kinds of things. And for those of you who are on the call live today, that's actually where you can go and grab, I guess, our virtual background of the week. Thank you, Lucas, for sharing that. For anyone who doesn't have ready access to Discord, I think it's in the Teams chat as well. So you can all sit in Kelvin's office with him grabbing that background there. So yeah, as we continue to improve Discord, this is a brand new channel. We know we have lots of folks here using CIPP and cyber drain, so feel free to converse in there. We've got a lot of subject matter experts, including Calvin, Brian, Ashley in there to help. So if you are using both of those technologies together and need some help, or just want to share some of the cool things you're doing, that's a dedicated place and space for you to do that. The other thing I wanted to call on was I was kind of digging through Discord this week, and we had a question come up at the start of the week from Art. I'm gonna check quickly and see if he's on the call. I don't see him, but in the help forum, Art had asked a question around best practices for naming forums and workflows. So I'll drop the link in the chat so folks have easy access, but I think Art was basically just asking, like, what is the best practice approach to naming things, because yeah, sometimes things get a little jumbly or hard to search for or see whenever they're pulled into other systems like Hoodoo and show inconsistency. And so I wanted to see if anybody on this call, either live or on the chat, had an answer that they wanted to share or any ideas. I know folks use tags some of the time, but Clea, I see your hand up.
Yeah, catching my breath from a dog walk outside, but do what Eddie tells you. Name it what Eddie tells you to name. Whenever he does live training or in any of our videos, they all have clear names because of Eddie. So don't know if he is here and can unmute, but what I remember him saying is, like, have it be very specific, action verbs, use underscores to separate naming conventions in your workflow tasks as you must, and tags.
Thanks for sure. Yeah, I think it's something that people are interested in, so feel free to continue the conversation on that that Discord post there, just around naming hygiene in general. We'd love to see what other folks are doing and share those ideas. So yeah, I appreciate you all being in Discord and sharing and doing the things. That's it from me this week. Ashley, back to you.
Thank you, George. All right, and then I agree with Nicholas. Thing Doer is a great name. What does it do? It does things. All right, let's jump over to Clea. Since you spoke up, you get to go next. That was the plan all along, but
just in the nick of time as I get my screen share up and going. Happy Friday, everyone. I am well rested and ready to present today because Chief Smile Strategist. I think that's her latest title. Slept through the night for the first time ever last night. Not sure how I feel about it because it means she's grown up too fast. But here we go. Some general updates, news, and reminders. As always, going to start out with whoopsies. Shout outs for our recently certified folks. For Roost Foundations, that is Dion, Patrick, Alex, Aaron, Bill, Calvin, Chris, and Ethan. And looks like maybe we have a double batch. Double shout outs. Everyone wins. Dylan, Luke, Lauren, Paul, JC, Jordan, Sam, Brendan, Dawood, Kayla, Catherine, Richard, Eric, Alex, Chris, Mahad, Kartik, Matthew, and Michael. A lot of folks just got certified. Congrats to you all. Hopefully you're also doing the training behind that certification because it teaches you a lot of important things behind the scenes. Join them, get your shout out, go get that exam, get certified. Oh, look, thank you. And for clean automation, we have JC, Jordan, Reva, Shlin, Kayla, Patrick, Brendan, Brandon, and Devesh. As always, you can reach out to us in our CluckU Discord channel. If you do get your certificate, we have a secret channel called Bird Brains. And I just dropped a secret course in there for some beta feedback. It teaches you how to, let me see. Here's my demo behind the scenes. I think I memorized the URL. Let me just pull it up. Why not? Building self-serve automation requests. Secret hidden URL, 33 minutes. Teaches you how to build an intake form and sends you a snazzy looking email that even does a calculation behind the scenes. Huge shout out to Joe from our design team for building this and making a beautiful course. I'm working on a video behind the scenes, so we will formally launch that course when that stuff is in there. But yeah, Bird Brains, we often don't use that channel to share early access to training. Go check it out and let us know what you think. Office hours are every Friday. Maybe someone here on the call was there earlier today. Office hours, as we all know, is really top secret private training with the legendary Eddie Chow. And thanks to, I think it was Kelvin last week who shared Eddie's keynote speech from MSP GeekCon. I had tears in my eyes at like the first 5 minutes, and I'm going to watch the rest this afternoon after I get my vaccine shots. So top secret training with Eddie, aka Cluck University office hours. Go do it. Go learn with us. Last week, I believed I highlighted our crash course. I'll throw that one into the chat here. It's great for if you're new to Roost, but maybe your company is not new to Roost. Maybe you've just like finally got the keys to the kingdom. They want you to also learn Roost. Start with the crash course. Didn't have it before. We have it now. It's like dipping your toes into the Roost waters, the Roost kiddie pool, the Roost toddler pull-up pants. I don't know. I'm still learning all these things as a new parent. Last but not least, I'll go ahead and shout out a lot of new documentation. So grab that link that I shared in the chat. We are always creating and updating documentation. Big shout out to our documentation manager, Lisa. She's basically a one-woman team with a lot of help from others at the company. Go give those docs some love. I think that's it. If anyone has Cluck University questions, documentation, let us know and keep on learning with us.
I was muted. All right, thank you. Now we are going to jump over to Daniel with an A.
Hey, everybody. All right, I'm going to share my screen here quickly and get right into it. So I'll share the link to our updates for this week. As always, we send out our, release notes every Friday. So this week we've had a few integration related items worked on. We added a select parameter to the enable on central list computers action. We fixed a few bugs as well. We're working on improving our error messaging. and error handling within the platform. This includes responses from integrations as well. And then we also added a fix for a Huntress get billing report action. What I'm really here to talk to you guys about, and what the exciting news and the reason why I've told you to come this week to our open mic, is because as of Tuesday, September 30th, everybody will have access to RoboRewsty. I'm going to walk through some of the features. I'm going to do live demos. It's going to be terrifying because this is something that it's a new release, but we have in the background been doing a whole bunch of work, both on internal testing. We have, I think, 50 or 60 partners who are doing beta testing right now. And everybody's come together and given us some great feedback. I'm very happy to say that we've had, I think, maybe two bugs that we found were blocking any sort of go live, and those bugs were fixed within, I would say, maybe like a couple hours. So we are fully ready to go for Tuesday, September 30th. You should see it switched on. Now, what can you do in using RoboRewsty? I'm going to give a few examples here and talk about some stuff that we didn't even realize we were building, but some people have found and to be very helpful for them. So I'm going to jump right into this workflow here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up RoboRewsty here up top, and I'm going to start a new chat, and I'm just going to ask it to explain this workflow to me. So what does this workflow do? Now, you may notice RoboRewsty, it goes through a lot of different pieces of context. So you may notice that right now it's not insanely fast. We are working on that. That's one of our main concerns right now. We're actually working directly with AWS to make sure that we have, some of this is due to rate limiting, so we're working on improving that and getting quicker responses in here. But in the meantime, you'll see that it's going through a whole bunch of different information that it gathers directly from the link on this page, so it can see what workflow it's using, and it can actually look into this, the specifics of this workflow. Now, what it will hopefully return is a pretty in-depth response of what this workflow is doing. So based on the workflow structure, this is an options generator workflow. So you can see up here that we have actually named it that way. This is part of a crate. It goes through exactly what the input parameters are, output parameters, gives you an explanation of what it does. So this workflow checks to see if a user exists across different IDPs. You can see the outputs here, and then it gives you kind of an overview. It's typically used as part of a user provisioning process to determine the next steps based on whether a user account already exists in the organization's IDP. If you get this and there's some questions that you have, what you can do is I can say, okay, this is an options generator. What if I don't know what an options generator is? And we'll see what it comes up with. I see, as per usual, we have a whole bunch of comedians in the chat. So thank you for that.
Thank you, because you guys are hilarious. Thank you.
Yeah. So an options generator is a special type of workflow that provides dynamic tailored options form fields. Gives you some information here on what an options generator is, and it can actually give you, let's see if it gives us some good sources. Yeah, so it links directly to our doc site. It's pulling information from our doc site, and it can link you directly to articles about it, give you some more information there. There's a whole bunch of other questions you can ask. I could ask it like, how do you know this is an options generator workflow? You can see here that it is configured as the workflow type is options gen, so it pulled that from, I guess, the workflow's metadata. Let's start a new chat though. This is something that was discovered up here in Canada, for example. We have partners all over the world. Up here in Canada, we do have some partners who are French as their first language. So I happen to speak a little bit of French, so I'm just going to ask it a question in French. So I'm just asking it to explain this workflow to me, and I spelled it wrong, but let's see if it figures it out. So I asked it to explain this workflow to me, and I'm trying to do this in French. Again, this is something that, oh, hope this works. Maybe my spelling mistake is messed it up. Can also add something else in there. Oh, there we go. So it talked about, so it tells me this workflow is an options gen. It verifies the existence of a user in different IDPs. Here's its functionality in detail, and then it will go through all of this detail here. It's used in the process of creating users to ensure that they're not created. So you're not duplicating users. And you're giving them access. You can give them access based on pre-existing users is pretty much what it says. And you're gonna have to trust me on that. And if anyone's here is French, then I apologize for getting everything wrong and lying. Just kidding, it's all there. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open up, so I have this workflow here. It's not really apparent just by looking at it. I guess once you know workflows, you can kind of see what it does, but I'm just gonna open up our notes section here, and I wanna document this workflow a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I opened up my notes section, and I can generate auto documentation here too. I think we've showed this a few times, but yeah, I wanna make sure that we definitely point this out live and you guys can see what is exactly working, how it works. So I'll just zoom out here and you can see step by step, it's gonna document this workflow. Okay, so the first thing it added was workflow initialization and identity provider detection. It actually gives you a detailed overview of what each note does. So you can see the first note that it added, it gives you kind of a detailed overview there, or a detailed explanation. And yeah, it's adding one by one notes to this. And so really easily, you'll have your entire workflow documented. So we did have some documentation through RoboRewsty available, but before you had to go through, add a note yourself. And so there was a bit more to it than just auto documentation on its own. So this took the entire workflow, documented it, and from here, it gives you a starting point for what is actually happening in your workflows. We've had some feedback on this already, and we have a lot of great ideas on what we can do with this next. And one of the main things is, well, I document a lot of things in my documentation platforms. So things like ITGlue, Hoodoo, which we integrate with. So one of the questions we had is, can I actually get this documentation into my documentation platforms? So that's something that's a great piece of feedback for an improvement that we've taken back. And we're gonna work on we've got a list of, I think, 60 or 70 improvements that we could make already and bug fixes. And we're looking at that for our next steps. So the next thing I'm gonna show is I'm gonna go back into RoboRewsty here within this workflow. And I'm going to ask it a question just about, let's see here, let's open it, make sure I have a new chat opened up. And I'm just going to ask it about, let's see, how can I improve this? This is a powerful piece of functionality that I don't think we really talked about as one of our main features, but has been one of the most consistently called out items that our testers have been using. So they'll build a workflow, or they'll have an existing workflow, and maybe it runs really slow, and they're looking for ideas on how to improve it. So what it will do is it will take in this workflow, it will analyze it, and it will offer you some improvement suggestions on how you could make it run better or more efficiently, or even some other things like error handling. Oh, cool. So Pizza just noted that this has access to the saved workflow and the active workflow. Actually, Kelvin, that's a great question. Do we check what you've chatted in RoboRewsty? So generally, no, but we actually did make a fix that allowed some. We made a fix recently to RoboRewsty, and Adam could see what I was asking the workflow. And one of my questions was, why is Adam so bad at Lego? And it was very, very controversial. There was quite the argument. It was not a fun day for me, but here I am. What AI
Why
is
do you care
RoboRewsty
so
using?
much about other people's usage of Lego?
Because I don't have a good answer to that. I'm spiteful, mean.
Because when the
person.
robots come for us all, we don't want them to come for us first. I'll put it that way.
Okay, so there was a question, what AI is RoboRewsty using? Pizza, do you want to answer what we are using, where we're going, or what we started using and where we moved?
So originally RoboRewsty utilized Azure OpenAI, and I mean we've moved from 3.5 to 4 to now we were using 5 for a little bit, and then we actually switched over to Anthropic's API proper before now RoboRewsty, specifically the chat and things like that, are utilizing Amazon AWS Bedrock. And this means that we have access to Anthropic's Claude via Bedrock, but they're introducing OpenAI models and things like that. So we're always looking for the next best model, ways to improve, things like that. So that may change as time goes on, but currently we're using Claude Sonnet 4 running on AWS Bedrock on a per environment basis. I'll put it that way.
Thanks, Pizza. Okay, so let's see what it said here. So one of the key improvement areas that it suggested is error handling and resilience. So most IDP's tasks have basic failure handling that routes to action failure, but this doesn't provide meaningful error context. So anyway, I'll go through a quick overview of what it suggested. So improving the error handling and resilience is one item. It gave some options for simplifying some complex Jinja. So it has some of the simplified approaches so you can. I might even ask it where exactly this Jinja is located that I need to improve. I know on a previous workflow that I've asked about improvements, it's given me the current and then the suggestion. And so you could just copy and paste this type of stuff into here, this Jinja into a given alias. It offered some suggestions to optimize your workflow structure, input validation documentation, performance optimizations. This is a big item that a few people have talked about in our beta channel in Discord. Performance optimizations are always a key aspect of Roost, because you want to make sure that you're making as few calls to an API as possible. You don't want to repeat yourself in your code, the whole dry principle that Eddie has burned into all of our brains. They have some output standardization. This is another thing too. Naming variables is one of the toughest things to do when you're building automations, or naming variables or actions. RoboRewsty can help offer you suggestions on that. And then, a few more things. So it offers you recommended next steps. We are also coming out with a list of suggested prompts, or prompts that have worked well for others. And we're going to be sharing that with the community as well. Not a chicken. Thanks, Timothy. Okay, the next thing I'm going to look at, which Tanner tried to spoil, but I didn't let him, is let's go with a workflow here. I'm just going to quit these. So I have a workflow here that failed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open RoboRewsty. I'm going to start a new chat, and I'm going to ask it, can you help me figure out why this workflow failed? How do I fix it? So you'll hopefully see here, just in the steps that it's doing, is it will actually look towards, it will look to see what workflow you're looking at. So it can see here that I'm on this ID for the workflow, or this workflow execution ID up here. And it's going to pull that workflow execution ID, look through your task logs, so what executed, and offer some suggestions on how you can make this workflow successful again. Now, before we look into this, I'm just going to go to this this failure here, and I'm going to see that the get submission channel action failed because didn't have access to that channel. So the model could not answer the question. Let's thank you, demo gods. Let's try to ask it again. Please. I didn't say please again. Sorry, Tanner. Pizza, are we rate limiting people's usage of RoboRewsty?
Not at the moment. We are there's a we're looking into some potential issues on some slowness here. But we're the demo gods are not being nice to us, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, so we're beholden to right now, because we are using AWS Bedrock, we're beholden to their rate limits, but we're not rate limiting individual users' RoboRewsty usage. Let's see if it works second time around. James, I have seen in one of my workflow analysis, like when I was on a workflow and I was asking it to analyze that workflow, it can see things like task sensitivity. I have seen it, not in the workflow that I showed you here. Okay, so there we go, it'll work this time. But yes, I have seen some results that talk about sensitivity as well as concurrency. Okay. So let's see here. This workflow failed due to Discord API permission issues. Specifically, there were two failed tasks that both received forbidden responses. So it tells you what the task ID is. You can ask more questions about this, obviously. And then the workflow is attempting to access a Discord channel that we have. This was a test Discord channel, I believe. And we need to give our Discord bot or Discord integration access to that channel. So it doesn't have access to read the channel, create threads in that channel. So yeah, it analyzes your workflow, tells you, and you can, again, because this is a chatbot, you can ask it further questions based on this and then go in and actually fix your workflows. And almost kind of the end goal will be in the fourth quarter, we're going to release some functionality around actually building workflows. So you'll be able to ask RoboRewsty to build you a specific workflow. You can run that workflow. It will likely fail the first time because if anyone who's coded in an AI has tried something like this, it's never perfect the first time, but then you can take that result, you can analyze it using RoboRewsty, and from there, it will give you some suggestions on how to fix, or it can fix it for you. So again, the actual ability to implement the fixes in your workflow is coming in the fourth quarter. We don't have that yet. And building workflows as well is coming in the fourth quarter, but you can at least get some ideas on how to resolve failed workflows. Now, maybe the last thing I'll show is just, I'm going to go into another organization here, and I'm going to, let's just start by asking it a pretty simple question. Hopefully it can give me some guidance on that. So imagine I'm a new user or a new partner who's using Roost for the very first time. I'm going to open up RoboRewsty, start a new chat, and I'm going to say, how do I create a new workflow? Okay, so I'm just going to use this first step here. So go to automations, workflows in the Roost platform. Automations, workflows. And then from there, if I open this again, I can see that it says click the create button. I'm just going to get it to click. I'm just going to click the create button. I'll call this 0.6 open mic. I will submit that, open it up. And what do I want to do from here? Let's say I have super ops as my PSA here. So I'm going to ask it a new question. I'm just going to say I use super ops as my PSA, and I need to create a new client. What action should I use? Okay, so while it's going, one of the questions that came up, and maybe Pizza, you can help with some of this stuff, is I want to. So Aaron had asked about, I want to teach you to make a new workflow, have it auto run it. One of the things that maybe I'll call Pizza again. Can you talk a little bit about MCP and what type of functionality it has today? What type of functionality that we hope that it has tomorrow?
Yeah, so there's a number of different things that MCP offers us in terms of like, so it's worth noting the differentiation between RoboRewsty, the agent, and MCP, the service. We're hoping to offer MCP as an external service later this year. We ran into some additional security concerns with, external access. All I can say is that I promise that it's the platform will be better for it, and I hope my word is good for that. But in terms of what it provides for our internal agent, RoboRewsty, right now, it provides everything from, list your organizations, get, certain information about your organization variables, list workflow tasks. It has the ability to get workflow tasks, read the active workflow, meaning things that you haven't saved. It has the ability to create, list, edit, workflow notes with some more granular control going later this year, or not later this year, hopefully later this month. But yeah, it offers a number of different flexibility options. If you want to ask RoboRewsty, what tools do you have, Daniel, it should be able to tell you everything that it can do and all the tools that it has available to it today. And that's kind of the great thing about this is, and like Daniel has kind of pointed out, we are excited to see what you guys are able to utilize these kinds of functionalities for, and help kind of alleviate the burden and the learning curve that comes with bringing people up to speed on Roost very quickly. No, we will not be clicking the try the new canvas button. That is off limits. And
maybe we won't press the button, but can RoboRewsty press the button for us?
You know what? Ask him yourself, I guess is the best way to put it, Calvin. There
on
you go.
Tuesday.
We've actually rigged Daniel's computer to explode if he clicks the button. So that's the only thing keeping us safe.
Exactly. So yeah, Aaron, I guess your question around creating workflows, running workflows, RoboRewsty can only, and through MCP, can only run workflows that you allow it to. So one of the things I wonder if we actually have it here already.
We do not have it set up.
Okay.
We are waiting for external MCP access for that to come to fruition.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're going to have internal, so you'll be able to run workflows directly through this chat here, but only workflows that you designate as being, so you'll have to add a specific trigger to it. But to go back to this, I want to wrap up this demo pretty quickly. I've been talking for way too long. It told me to use the create client v2 action. I'm glad it did because that is the correct action. So if I go down to here, create client v2, boom, I have a action on my canvas now to create that client. With that, I think that's all that I have to demo today. So those are just a few of the pieces of functionality that are available. But again, like Pizza said, you can ask it other questions like, I'll start a new chat here. Maybe I will demo one more thing. Pizza said, what tools does RoboRewsty have access to? Ah, Chris, gotcha. You don't have access to that, RoboRewsty. Okay, so has access to documentation and reference, workflow management, so it can do all this stuff with workflows. The workflow editor cannot yet update workflows themselves, but it can update workflow notes. It can list workflow executions. You can ask questions like how many times has this workflow failed versus, or any questions like that. It can look through all the integrations and actions, your organizations and your users. So yeah, that's kind of an overview of everything that RoboRewsty has access to, some cool functionality that we've actually just learned about, as well as some stuff that we've been talking about for a while. But with that, I'm going to go back to you, Ashley. Sorry for taking so much time.
Thank you, Daniel. You guys almost got him. I saw it a few times. It's almost there. Maybe next time. All right, let's jump over to Jesse.
How do I follow that? Geez, I just have marketplace updates. So I will share my screen, and then I think we got some demos after this, so I'll be pretty quick here. Going through bug fixes and chores for Marketplace for this week. So there was a secondary email field that was in the Microsoft user onboarding. We removed that because it didn't really do too much, and I don't think anybody was using it from what we had seen. But if that's not the case, let us know and we can chat about it. There was also an issue with deactivating ConnectWise PSA contacts, where if there was not a company set, then that would cause an issue. So we will create a dummy replacement company and then add that to the contact, and then that will allow the contact to be deleted. If that causes issues for anybody, let us know. Alert on login from non-native country. So we updated the filter in Microsoft Graph list logins to check if the include failed attempts or not. Adding clients to Roost, small typo, we fixed sites to site because I think that endpoint only supports just the one. And then for Huntress EDR AD account lockdown, which is a newer crate that we have, we increased the webhook timeout length from 8 hours to a day. If you haven't checked out that crate already, you should give it a look because that's a newer one that Paul created on our team. Some exciting stuff. We've added a few things to coming soon. So we should hopefully have our own lengthy marketplace demo on one of the open mics in October, because we got a bunch of stuff showing up. I think the first 3 or 4 are similar from weeks past, but then we are going to be doing some stuff with Dropsuite. We've got backup monitoring as one of the ones. There's also 2 other crates that we're adding it to. We're adding it to onboarding and offboarding. We're also adding it to the billing report crate as well. And then there's a new account add for Dropsuite too. We're doing OneStream or bVoIP, depending on what you call it, a kind of technician toolbox where if somebody calls in and you're using bVoIP, you can link right out to Roost forms and run workflows from within OneStream. And and then hoping to get Secure Cloud added to user onboarding. So if any of you use Secure Cloud, previously known as AppRiver, that should be in there pretty soon as well. And then there's a few other things that we'll probably announce coming up in the first few weeks of October, but that's what we got for now. Any questions? Cool. Thanks all.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So now we are ready to jump over to Aaron, who has a workflow for us, and you've got the floor and the rest of our time.
Well, don't I feel special? All right. So what I've been working on recently is not too long ago, I made a license reporter, and I made that before the Roost one came out. But as I was actually going ahead and we were setting this up for another client, they mentioned that they would actually like the users drop down inside so they can see which users are assigned to which license, as well as just kind of the general breakdown. So I've been working on trying to add that, and it has been fighting me, but I've got it to kind of a rough stage to at least show off. Let me share that now. So I blurred out names and stuff like that, but essentially the issue that I'm running into right now is that I can get one or two of the drop downs to actually function in an email as a actual drop down list, whereas the rest of the ones just kind of filter it as a straight list. And that's kind of what I'm stuck on right now. And part of that difficulty is not being able to use any JavaScript whatsoever because it's going through email clients and stuff like that. So there's a lot of security based around that, which means I pretty much have to exclude JavaScript entirely. So that definitely does make it a little bit more difficult. But the actual workflow side of things, let me move my Spotify. The actual workflow side of things, I got to tighten up a little bit. But here's how it kind of works right now. And it works from both the app side as well as the just kind of form side. I'm just pulling this up to make sure. So this is kind of what it would look like over on the app side, and then it would populate that chart from there. But the reason why I had to build it a bit odd was I actually had to create web request, web hooks, and have a handoff to secondary workflows. And part of that, I believe, the reason why I had to do that was passing certain variables and things like that just was not able to do in any other type of way. So I had Roost support help me out and kind of jimmy rig away to get it to work and run and pass all the information that it needed to. So this triggers a sub workflow, which passes the company information and everything like that into here. From here, it grabs the actual licensing information. We use State and Microsoft. So it goes ahead, it grabs outputs of both of those and uses just kind of a bit of basic math to go ahead, check, hey, do you have users assigned to this? Do you have Microsoft users assigned? Do you have PAX 8 users? Is it assigned by group or is it direct? How many remaining are there? And up in the screenshot, you could see that, for example, if the license are over allocated, it'll be in red. We see -1 licenses remaining. Yellow means you're all matched up. Just kind of keep an eye on it. If you get a user, if you lose a user, it's gonna put you into either over or underage. The green, you're all good to go. You got at least one extra license there. So even if you have a new user onboarding, something like that, you're still going to be all good on that licensing side. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And if anybody has CSS dropdowns or HTML dropdowns or anything like that, I would be more than happy to hear.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments or feedback for Aaron? Well, yeah, well, you cut off a little bit at the very end when you, right when you were about to say what you wanted people to, or what you were looking for feedback on.
Essentially, if anybody has any ideas on how to approach the dropdowns in either CSS or HTML, I am open for ideas. I'll probably share the HTML code inside of Discord, so it's available.
Okay, yeah, do that. I can definitely look too. I've been playing obsessively with that. Any questions or any thoughts anybody's got?
Alex dropped some custom CSS in the chat. He might want to take a look at.
Yeah, Alex did drop some. If you're using HTML, you could use custom. Cool. We've got 5 minutes left, or technically like almost 5.5 minutes left. Anybody want to ask any other questions or present anything super rapid fast? The Jeopardy music on. Well, if there is nothing left, we can all take 5 minutes and have fill up our drinks or start our weekends a little bit early. Or what's everybody doing this weekend? Anything fun? When prod weekend?
Real.
Playing
Jesse's backyard wrestling. He's gonna put his nemesis. He's gonna put his nemesis through that cabinet. It's called the lottery ticket. It's his finishing move.
It's
couldn't have said it better.
my birthday tomorrow, so I'm turning 41, and then I will have one more year of not dreading birthdays, because then I'll turn 42, which will be the best birthday ever, and then no more, not allowed again.
Ray has something to show.
Ray,
He said
Yeah, do
something
it.
really quick.
do it, Ray. Are you talking, Ray?
Ray, you might be muted.
He's like, I'm
Yeah,
not. I didn't say
fixing
I was going
things
to
up.
talk. I was just going to
It's
show.
super early in the morning, guys. Okay, so very quickly, I don't know, everyone uses forms here, but I don't know if you guys realize you can have one drop down be used to pull out all this information and then just show it off really nicely, really easily. So if I select anyone here, you will see it literally will update every single one of these fields. And you can even do graphs and other things in our forms, which I have shared in the workflow editor, in the workflow forum on Discord, but it can make your forms a lot easier for people to digest and understand, right? So there's a couple of things this is actually doing. I've got opposite. Basically, it's an anonymizer that's running. So this is going through, these are all Roost internal testing endpoints, but I've got it going over all the results that are coming back in the opgen and everything that's being filled out here, and it's just anonymizing all the data for me as I go, right? I'm then using GraphQL to go and grab the results from the previous time I've run it, because as you all know, if you're using the new EXO actions to, sorry, it is stupidly early here. If you're using EXO to go and get all the users, it can take a minute or so. So I'm just using Microsoft Graph to sorry guys. I'm using Roost graph action to go and grab the previous results, grab the context, and not sit here waiting for a minute for all that data to load up again, right? But either way, I've gone and shared all this. It's all really easy in the Markdown. In terms of the way I'm pulling out the data, if I go to my mailbox stats and then just open up this thing, so you will see when I grab my object and I upload it to generate the opgen, I'm finding the UPN, but then I'm pushing in all the data that I loaded that was located as a JSON string. And then from there, back in here, you can then just go find the value that came in, convert it back to JSON, and then you can pass it for every single little bit of information. So one dropdown, one opgen, and you can generate all of this, which is a lot quicker than waiting for it to hit opgen after opgen after opgen after opgen. But yeah, so that's something else I'm playing with. But yeah, just so you know, because I know a lot of people ask about forms and what you can do, and this just makes it really easy for clients at different points to be able to click through and take a look at what's here. So that's all I've got to show off right now.
Perfect way to end. Leave everybody with a bunch of ideas. All right. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Jesse and Daniel, and everybody who presented for us. And we'll see you all next week.
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
I'll
Ash.
share it in the
Everybody.
group again.
Happy birthday.
Thanks,
See
guys.
you guys. Happy
Hey.
birthday, Ash.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Meow. Meow.